Hello friends, welcome back to this session on human development. In part 1 of the sessions, we have discussed about human development index and human development report, where India stands. So we have talked about economic growth, economic development, human development, human development index, human development report, where do you find the report, what are the parameters of human development report. We also covered a topic like where world stand, the top 10 countries and bottom 10 countries in terms of human development index, and also where do India stand. So we have talked about Indian situation in terms of human development index. This part of the presentation we are focusing more on gender dimension. When human development index is prepared, they have a gender dimension data. So what we did is we have collected the data related to gender dimension of human development index with specific reference to India. So what is the gender dimension of human development index with specific reference to Indian situation? That's what the goal of this presentation is. And something that we already covered, just to have a recap, human development index composed of 3 dimensions: long and healthy life, knowledge, and decent standard of living. And these 3 dimensions are measured through different indicators: life expectancy at birth, expected years of schooling, mean years of schooling, and per capita gross national income. These are the dimensions under which HDI is prepared. So for preparation of HDI, they have special indices: life expectancy index, education index, and GNI index. We already covered HDI, Human Development Report. Since 1991, Human Development Reports data are available, and we have used that HDI data related to gender dimension for India based on HDI reports. This is the last Human Development Report that we had for the year 21-22, published by Human Development Program. In my earlier lecture, we have already covered this part, and details were shared with you for Human Development Report if somebody want to read through the entire report. Something that we already covered, so these are the top 10 and bottom 10 countries. Switzerland at the top, followed by Norway, Iceland, Hong Kong, Australia, Denmark, Sweden, Ireland, Germany, Netherlands are the top 10 countries. And if you look at their HDI values, it is in the range of 0.962 is the highest one. Let me show you. Okay, let me put the marker color. So the highest one for Switzerland, 0.962 at the top, followed by Norway, Ireland, and others. On the other side, the lowest HDI, because HDI is total 191 countries, lowest was for South Sudan, 0.385. Something that we have covered. Just for the reference, we are doing this part. Something that we have discussed about HDI rank since 2019 to 2021, and the yellow line indicates the HDI index, index value. So from 0.434, India reached 0.642. So since 92-21, the HDI index for India has been improving. There has been a slight decline, especially after 16, and the major decline is observed during COVID period. If you look at the India's rank, we were among at the 116 rank and improved a lot to 115, probably in the year of 1994. But then it has been fluctuating. Performance was not so good. We reached to an index of how much? 138 during this period. So we have the not so good performance for India, but again started improving, and we reached to 127 in the year 2016. But after 2016, again our performance was not so good when you compare the global picture, and again the ranking has started moving up. And according to the latest report 2021, we are at 132. Last year it was 130. So among 191 countries, India stands at 132. So though index has been improving, but performance when we compare with the rank of the other countries is not so good, and cause of concern for government to take some action on this. Something that we have already covered in the last lecture, this was the gender comparison of Human Development Index. So HDI, overall HDI, HDI male and HDI female. If you look at this data, this yellow line indicates Human Development Index for male, blue line indicates for female, and white one is all India average. Two things to be noted here is, since 90 to 2021, HDI index for all India, male as well as female, has been improving, except the recent situation, more or less it is not so doing good. But second important component here is the HDI index of male and female, okay, was different. HDI index of male was much above the national average, whereas female it was much below the national average. So male human development is much more higher than that of female. But something that United Nations has also noticed, that over a period of time, the gap between this male and female, what we call gender gap, has been decreasing. It was very wide here, if you look at this arrow that I am making in, but gradually it has declined. So India to an extent has succeeded in reducing this gender gap in human development. But we'll be looking at the parameter wise as well, where the performance has been improving and where are we lagging behind. This is life expectancy at birth, which is nothing but number of years that newborn could expect to live. That is average expected lifespan. Overall, male and female, all three indicators are available to us. And if you look at this trend, one of course the declining trends in recent period, but other striking feature is during 90, 91, 93, the initial phase, there was not much gap. But over a period of time, the gap between male and female is increasing. And here, life expectancy of birth for female is higher. Has been higher compared to that of male, but the life expectancy of female has been increasing at a rate faster than that of male. So female on an average are doing good on these parameters. Something to be noted here. Second parameter, expected years of schooling, that is nothing but an education. Number of years when the child enters to a school, how many years is expected to study as part of the educations, either in the school or the university level. And here, if you look at this yellow line is for male, white one is for female, but the striking feature is in the initial phase, the gap between male and female was very wide. Female education, expected years of schooling for female was much lower than that of male. There was a huge difference. But over a period of time, this gap has been reducing. And there's a time, say probably we can call it around 11, 12. Okay, expected years of schooling for female has crossed that of male. So till 2012, expected year of schooling for female was less than that of male, whereas after 12, expected year of schooling for male is lower than that of female. And if you look at the recent picture, more or less they are converging to each other. So that is something which is to be noted here. So I can say female performance has been much better than that of a male performance. If you look at mean years of schooling, the picture is slightly different. This mean years of schooling is average number of completed years of education. So those who are not school going age, 25 plus, what is average years of education that they have? And here, the average years of schooling of male is much higher than that of female. Of course, both are improving, but there's a gap. And over a period of time, see, after 2000, the gap was widening, but recent pictures say after around 15, the gap has again started reducing. So the gap between average number of schooling by female and that of male are getting into convergence mode. That's where the difference comes in. If you look at gross national income, now this is a striking figure for me. Gross national income per capita, and this yellow line indicates GNI for male, this blue line indicates GNI for female, and this white one is for average overall. Here there is a striking difference, and over a period of time the gender gap in terms of gross national income is increasing. So though the national income overall for India is increasing, but for male that increase rate is much faster than that of female. This is something which is affecting the HDI for female, because this is an important component for HDI. This is something where we call it real income disparities between male and female, and these disparities are increasing over a period of time. So it's time for government to take some policy action to work on this. Then Human Development Report also gives two important parameters. One is GDI, that is Gender Development Index, and other is GII, Gender Inequality Index. And this Gender Development Index measures the difference between male and female. Okay, and if you look at this white line, is indicating Gender Development Index, and this increasing trend indicates that gender gap is increasing. The difference between male and female on all these parameters of HDI. So gender gap is increasing in terms of HDI over a period of time. Recently, the curve seems more flat, so we can say not increasing that faster rate, but over a period of time, if you look at the long-term trend, it shows increasing gap. But when you look at these gender inequalities, gender inequality index shows a declining. So this gender inequalities index is prepared based on important dimension: reproductive health, empowerment, and labor market. So on three parameters GI is prepared, and if you look at this GI in terms of three parameters, the declining trend indicates that yes, gender inequality index is decreasing. So gender inequalities are decreasing, but gender development is increasing. We'll talk about these important parameters of GI as well. So what is GI and what are the parameters? This is a brief outline of gender inequality index, and it talks of three dimension: reproductive health, which is measured through maternal mortality rate and adolescent fertility; empowerment through parliamentary representations and education attainment; labor market through labor force participation rate. So these are the parameters, indicators which are used for calculation of gender inequality index. And if you look at the data about this, what happened to maternal mortality ratio, that is death per 1 lakh live birth. Death per 1 lakh live birth. It means how many female die while giving birth to a new baby out of 1 lakh live birth. And if you look at the scenario over a period of time, it was as high as 519, close to 600 women used to die while giving birth to a new baby out of 1 lakh. And this number has started declining, and now we are close to around 133. So since we can say 17 onwards, the curve is now more flat. It's not declining no more. But it has been suggesting a declining trend. But even if you look at this number 133 in contrast to the global average, it is on higher side. So it is cause of concern for all of us. If you look at this adolescent birth rate, it means number of live births to a woman in the age of 15 to 19. This is an adolescent age. And the number was 122 near in the year 1990, overall suggesting a declining trend and reaching to around 17. So 17.23 per thousand. So out of 1000 births, 17 births are by a woman in their age bracket of 15 to 19. Not so mature age. It's an adolescent age. So it's cause for concern for us. And still it is time for us, time for the government, time for the policymakers to come up with some solution to this. And again, if you look at the recent data, since 15, more or less is a flattening curve and is cause of concern for all of us. If you look at the seats in the parliament, what percentage of share that women had in the parliament was compared to their counterpart male, and the overall trend shows the convergent part. So the gap has been reducing, but still, if you look at the data 21, 86% seats are by share in the parliament seats are by male, whereas female representation is still 13.44%. But over a period of time, from 7.34 it increased to 13, so nearly doubled. But it took lot many years, 1990 to 2020. Whereas compared to the share of male in the parliament was 92, decreased to around 86, still not much difference. But good part is the gap is towards a convergence part. If you look at the labor force participation is nothing but part of the labor force for the people who are age 15 and above. It means part of the population in the age group of 15 and above, how many of them are part of the labor force? And again, when you look at the data, the overall difference between male and female has not changed much over a period of time. The gap between these two lines, blue line and white line, has more or less remained the same over a period of time. The labor force participation for the male was around 84, declined to around 70. Whereas that in terms of female, from 30 it declined to around 90. It means labor force participation rate of both the generations are declining. But for female, it declined from 30 to 19, nearly 20 we can say. From 84 to 70. But still there's a huge gap in terms of labor force participation. So we want our female member in the labor force to be economically contributing as well, along with all their social household responsibility that they are very well doing with us. So this is all from my side for these sessions. I hope you have enjoyed. You can reach out to me on my email ID kishorkishu@gmail.com. Feel free to share your comments, suggestions, feedback. And again, like to take this opportunity to thank UGC HRDC Center, Gujarat University, Professor Jagdish Joshi, Professor Mamta Brahmbhatt, and all the participants of this refresher course for giving me this opportunity to share my views on this topic. Thank you. Thanks a lot.